is not required for for our app. Since we are doing it through Google Meet, I have to do that recording, screen recording and stuff. Coming to the Agile methodology, we have two of these models in Agile, which is primarily used. So Scrum and Kanban. Scrum is used when we wanted to go for projects which are actually iterations. When you have development iterations, like you have a new coming products, a new coming upcoming features into your product or an application, then you will go with Scrum model. That is very specific to development stuff. But if you talk about DevOps, when your project is still developing or it is still evolving, or you are migrating from on-premises to cloud, or if you are setting up the entire CI/CDs, automations, and stuff, at that point of time, you can call that particular project also as Scrum model in DevOps. So Kanban is more of maintenance project where your project is properly matured enough, and there are very less new iterations or new upcoming features that have been going to add. At that point of time, what as a DevOps engineer, you will get more of promotion tickets, which are deployment tickets of the same applications. And if there is no change in the application architecture and infrastructure architecture, you will get more of enhancements, patchworks, disaster recoveries, deployment related activities, and then you have this production support. So when you get such type of things, you'll go with the Kanban model. Okay, so that's a glimpse of what we have discussed yesterday. So in more of a structured format, it is like widely used for managing the complex process. Its Scrum model is an agile framework for software development and project management that provides a structured approach for to iterative and incremental development. That's what I said. When you have a new upcoming features every now and then, you'll go with the Scrum model, and it is very flexible. You get very less time wasted because it is a constant development process, which means developers will be working on their new stuff, and once that is developed, they'll be giving it to the QA people. Meanwhile, developers will not sit idle until they get the QA results. So they'll be picking up the next tickets, next features. They'll be working on it. QA meanwhile will be updating, will be checking those regressions and stuff. Once QA report comes, if there is any issues or bugs found, then these developers will have to work on that as well as a bug fix or any hard fix or anything as such. Okay, so that is how the Scrum model goes. There is no resource wastage. There is no time consumption. There is no lag for the releases. So that is where we choose Scrum model. And in Scrum model, there are separate terminology that we have to understand. Those terminologies are this one. So we have roles, particular roles in a Scrum, and we have particular events, we have particular artifacts, and then we have some proper iterations. Okay, so now let's discuss in detail about who has to do what. Okay, so in Scrum model, or to the matter of fact, if it is Kanban also, the terminology would be remain same, but then there are certain events that doesn't happen in Kanban. We will see that. Okay, so roles of Scrum Master will be Scrum. There are Scrum Master who is going to manage the entire project, but then there is a hierarchy. Okay, so product owner roles are product owner, Scrum Master, and development team. That is very specific to development team. So when you see about DevOps, this will change. Scrum Master remains same, product owner remains same, and the DevOps team will come into picture. Like maybe it could have been teams, different teams like QA team, DevOps team, development team, like that. But to be more specific, for Scrum model, I just kept it as development team. And we have events. Let's discuss one by one. Product owner. Who is product owner? Product owner is the one who owns the entire application. Okay, so this guy will take the inputs from the end customer, or he will be designing the entire product, and he will be giving the inputs about the application functionality, how it should look, how he wanted to project, and he will give the expectations to the development team by taking the requirements from the client side, or he himself creates that requirements. Okay, so that is what he does. Mainly, he is the top guy. Okay, so he will play the important role for an entire agile framework and the entire project itself, if you ask. So he will create this backlog management. We'll talk about backlog management. It is not a rocket science. It's a simple terminology. I'll explain you. So backlog manage. He will manage the product backlog. He will manage the stakeholder management, which is clients. He will set the goals like over a period of time. Let's suppose quarter by quarter. He will be giving the uh, vision for each every now and then. Okay, so he will actually set some particular set of goals for this particular QA. Like let's suppose quarters. Sorry, not QA, quarters. So these many products, these many features should be completed within this period of time. This should be tested and these should be released. So we will be setting that goals on all until unless something comes up in the middle and it makes complex and that release might postpone. But he will be the key role in maintaining that vision and goal. So he'll also be the decision maker. Like he will be involved in the critical decision regarding the product features, functionalities, and often he will be managing the stakeholder demands as well. Likewise means let's suppose you have developed a couple of features in your product. So now he'll take that couple of features and give it to the stakeholders, and he will make sure that whatever the stakeholder requirement and whatever we develop are actually going in a line by line. Means the expectations are really met. Okay, so that is where product owner does. That is what product owner does. So we as a DevOps team will have very less interaction with the product owner, but the development team will have good interaction with the product owner. So product owner in a DevOps team, how we will involve is if something goes wrong in the production or staging environment, which is very critical at the time, as a product owner, he will just see what is going wrong, and he will be collaborating with all the teams to make sure that it is completed, closed as soon as possible. Okay, so that is what a product owner does. Now, Scrum Master is the key player in managing the entire teams. Okay, so he will actually set this sprint model. He will actually decide which model we should go, Scrum model or Kanban model or Safe Agile, something like that. So he will be a bridge between product owner, between multiple teams, development team, DevOps, QA, database. Okay, so he will be the one who facilitates Scrum events, all the Scrum events. Okay, sprint planning. Let's see one by one. So he will be the servant leader. He will be the agent. He will be the guy who he will be reporting to product owner, and product any question that product owner raises, he will be the one who is giving the answer, or he will connect. He will be a bridge between product owner and development teams. Who is responsible for what? Okay, so he will decide. Scrum Master will decide. Okay, so that is about Scrum Master. Now development team, you already know development team is the one who actually develops the feature. In development team, there are multiple people. Like he could be the architects. We have lead engineers, managers, and then core development team who is actually working on the features. Okay, so that is the combination of development team. DevOps team, we already know. So there will be senior lead DevOps or say lead DevOps, and then there are junior DevOps, mid-range of DevOps guys, SREs. So mid-range of DevOps engineers, everyone will be there. On QA side, there will be QA automation people, the functional test engineers, and then there is performance engineers, security testing like penetration testing. All those people will be there in the QA side. So these are a couple of teams that actually play in the Scrum model. Now events. So what is So who are these people? What are the events that we actually plan in the Scrum model? Is like we have this sprint planning. Like sprint planning is something that. So the reason why I'm telling sprint planning is that is where actually sprint starts. Okay, sprint planning is a meeting where um, uh, every every team member in that particular team, it could be DevOps or it could be development team or QA team, whoever is working for that particular project, during sprint planning, what they will do is they will select what they wanted to work for that particular sprint. Okay, sprint is something that happens over a period of time. It could be minimum of 2 weeks. Okay, Monday to alternate Monday, or it could be 3 weeks, Monday to alternate double alternate Mondays. So sprint planning could go from minimum 2 weeks to 4 weeks. There is no restriction as such, but ideal would be 2 weeks. That is a very good ideal time. Okay, so this sprint planning, during sprint planning, you will select what are the things that you wanted to work for this particular. Let's assume that is our sprint planning is for 2 weeks. Let's say now the work that I wanted to do for next 2 weeks, I will decide today. I'll pick all the items from the backlog. Also, in sprint planning, we will also review what we have done for previous sprint. Means we will do the retrospective. So, what does retrospective means? We actually discuss what went right, what went wrong, and what could have been improved. Okay, so what went right, what went wrong, what could have been improved. Means have you learned anything from this particular sprint? Have you implemented anything, and what went right during the implementation? What went wrong? What went like negative way from your implementation or from whatever you have expected or planned for that particular sprint? Let's suppose you have you have picked 5 tasks for that particular sprint, for that previous sprint, and during retrospective, you could say like you have successfully completed 3 tasks. One is in progress, like dependency on another team. The other one is I couldn't pick because I don't have much time because I was working on. So you can carry that. We can carry that backlog item to the next sprint. Okay, so that is what these discussions happen in the sprint planning. Everyone will come forward and tell what they have done for over previous sprint, what they will do for next sprint, and they will do the retrospective. Okay, so that is what happens in the sprint plan. Now, sprint, like I said, sprint spans from 2 weeks to anything between 3 weeks or 4 weeks. It depends on the Scrum Master. He is the one who will decide how many weeks a sprint should span. Okay, ideally, it should be 2 weeks. Sometimes DevOps team will not have a dedicated Scrum Master. The main Scrum Master will be like he will be the one who is working for development team and he will be collaborating with other teams. Sometimes it is DevOps team himself. Every team member will take the ownership of creating that sprint, moving the backlog items on all. Okay, so we sometimes in my previous organization, every team member of my team used to do that sprint planning, sprint like ending the sprint, creating the new sprint, moving the backlog items, all the stuff we used to do. Okay, it is not necessary that you have to learn. It is not necessary that you have to get these questions asked in the interview. This is not a big internet interview topic, but then once you get an opportunity, these are all very very basic, and these terminology is very important when you go into the project. So that is the reason why I'm talking about how project management happens in a DevOps team. Okay, so that's about sprint planning and sprint. Daily Scrum is something that happens on a daily basis at 5 minutes to 10 minutes or 15 minutes based on the team. Everyone will come forward and talk about what from yesterday to till that sprint stand-up call, what they have worked on, if there is any blockers or if there is any help needed, they will ask someone and they'll be connecting offline, not in the stand-up but offline. Or if there is any important discussion or something related to production related issues, something like that, they'll discuss on stand-up daily scrum call or stand-up call we can call. So it would span around 5 to 15 minutes. Sometimes it goes to 30 minutes. There is no particular timeline for that, but stand-up is must and should, and every team has that. These days, every project will have Scrum team, Scrum call at a particular time. Okay, there is a sprint review meeting where, like I said, sprint planning and sprint review goes hand in hand, where a Scrum Master or the one who is actually managing the sprint will, at the end of the sprint, they demonstrate uh, to see it is in sprint planning. It is all related to our technical people. It could be development team, it could be DevOps team, or it could be QA team. But sprint review is something that we as a so not normally it is not done by DevOps. It is done by Scrum Master or DevOps manager or development manager. So he will go to product owner or he will go to the stakeholder and tell what they have achieved. Okay, so if it is like a MNC and you are working for a client, at the time stakeholder would be that client, and our manager or lead will present the Scrum board and tell these are all completed, these are all impending, these are all in progress. Okay, so that is what happens in the sprint review. So we as a team gives what we have done for previous sprint to the stakeholder. It could be product owner or it could be client, and then what we will also give what we will be working for next sprint. So sometimes they will come back and tell the priority list, like this is we want first this one, next this one, next this one, or we will decide based on that. So it goes in both directions and we will take final grant on that. Okay, sprint retrospective I already told, like what went wrong, what went right, if there is any improvements needed. Okay, so these are all happens in the sprint review meeting. Now what is artifact? Okay, so artifact are something that deals with a product backlog, sprint backlog increments. So product backlog is a priority list of a desired functionalities, okay, of a product desired functionalities managed and owned by product owner. So this product backlog is directly linked to product owner because he knows the future of the application or product that he is owning. Okay, so he will know how this project is going to go in further quarters or next upcoming future few years, and he will be leading the team in that direction. Okay, so he will create all the list of tasks which we call it as product backlog in or a list of priority items that we have to work for. We actually work for him, so he'll create all the tasks what he I mean what and all he wants to create first for his product or application. So product backlog is a place where you see all the list of requirements. Okay, so it could be technical requirements or it could be functional requirements. He will just give the requirements and we have to break that and create our own user stories. Let's talk about that in next few slides. Okay, we have product backlog where you can see all the list of product related functionalities managed and owned by product owner. Okay, product backlog is directly proportional to product owner. Now sprint backlog. Sprint backlog is set of items selected from the product backlog to be completed during the sprint, along with some plan of delivering them by the end of the sprint. Okay, so this is directly proportional to sprint planning. So during the sprint planning, we will pick the items from the product backlog. So, like I said, no, like I said, right, during the sprint planning, we will be pulling some tasks from the backlog item. That backlog item is nothing but product backlog. So product owner will list all his backlog items here. During the sprint planning, we will pick those items like on the priority basis, and we will work and try to deliver them in the same sprint. Like our sprint will last for 2 weeks. So by the end of second week, we during the sprint review meeting as sprint planning, we will be giving that. So this both happens in the same meeting. So it starts with sprint planning, and sometimes if you want to give what a demo to the stakeholder or the client, then it happens at his timings, at his what whatever he proposes, no, stakeholder or product owner. Other times it happens. Sometimes it both in product based company. This sprint planning and review happens in the same meeting because there is no such thing called stakeholder. It is all the same product company that handles that. Okay, so during sprint backlog, we take the items from the product backlog on the priority basis, and we'll try to deliver them during the end of the sprint. Okay, so that is what sprint is. Increment is like the version of the product at the end of the sprint, which should be in usable condition, which means like the shippable product. Okay, so by the end of this sprint, you have to deliver the product, right? You have to deliver the requirement what we have picked for that particular backlog. So the version of the product at the end of each sprint, which should be in usable condition, means we have to deliver a product which can be used by the end user or a product owner or a stakeholder, whoever is willing to. Okay, so that then there is again he will come up with a new features for that particular released version, and then again we have to create a product owner will create a backlog, and we have to pick that from the that product backlog in the sprint planning, not that particular sprint, but after next few upcoming sprints. Okay, so these are some artifacts. Okay, this artifact is a not technical word, it's a functional word in project management. There is also a place where we get this artifact, which is in the build. I will talk about that artifact later on. It's called as package. Okay. Uh, Sorry, I am muting Sai. Please try to mute yourself if you have any questions, please unmute. Otherwise, please keep on mute. Other people will get disturbed. Okay. So there is this iterations. Okay. So we have this iteration concept where uh, the iteration is nothing but often called as a sprint in Scrum. It's a fixed period during which a set of work must be completed. But then this iteration happens like in a cycle wise. Okay, iteration is nothing but adding plus one plus one plus one. So sprint also goes in that way. Now once the sprint, if let's suppose if we are doing a sprint for 2 weeks, once that is done, then we are adding one more sprint plus one. So that process of creating a new sprint every time to complete a common goal, which is actually iterating every now and then. Requirements are coming on daily basis or weekly basis or monthly basis or quarterly basis. We pick that in the sprint and we are iterating based on the completion of that particular requirement. And again, by the time we complete the existing requirement, we will be having few more new requirements. So that process never ends. So that is why I said Scrum is an iteration model which goes over a period of sprints, multiple sprints. Okay, so that is where iteration comes into picture, where a specific set of work must be completed and made ready for review. Iterations are building blocks of agile development, allowing teams to break down complex projects into manageable chunks. Means we break these big items into small pieces. You work on it on the sprint. Again, create new sprint. Take the new chunks. Work on it again like that. So that is where iteration model comes. We are doing it like what I can say is divide and rule policy. So when you have a big task, divide and rule. So you divide the big task into multiple tasks, assign it to multiple people, and then rule it, work on it. Okay, so that is what iteration is. So now let's start the core part of Zira. Okay, so let's since I said we'll be taking about we'll be talking about Zira. So this is where the Zira comes in. So that backlog item that I said no here, the product backlog or backlog items, those are all called as epics. That epic is a big requirement. Okay, consider epic is a big requirement that is being divided into user stories. Okay, user stories can be again divided into tasks. task 1, task 2, task 3, like that. I'll show you. Epic is a combination of multiple user stories or a big requirement. Like I said, it's a big requirement that will be divided into multiple user stories, and we assign it to multiple developers or DevOps or QA team, whoever that particular Scrum project belongs to. Okay. Now, what is a bug? Bug is a type of issue where you get raised by this particular bug ticket is raised by QA team whenever they identify some issue with the test QA side. One second. Yeah, sorry, I'm back. So bug is a one. What happens in the bug is like how do we get bugs or a bug fix ticket is, let's say we developer worked on some feature. Now he has released that feature into staging environment. Now QA team does this functional testing and identify that authentication is not working or some functionality is breaking when they are trying to do some authentication. Now what happens? They will raise a bug ticket that this authentication is failing and this is the issue we are getting. Please try to work on it and create a new release or create a new version or fix that issue. So they will mention that in the bug fix. The developer who worked on that particular feature will be assigned this bug fix ticket. Then he will work on it again, releases a new version of it. So that's the bug related thing. Okay, bug is a problem. In a simple words, bug is a problem that prevents the functions of a product, that prevents the functionality of a product. Okay, so that will break the product functionality. So that is where we call it as bug. That is not directly related to this one, but will come later part of the development. Okay, task and subtask. I think you already know. Under user story, we will divide that user story into multiple tasks. Like we can break down and then work on it on each task, and then so this task and subtask are the subsets of user story, direct user story, not bug. This is a subset. These two are subsets of user story. Okay, so on a high level. So these are few terminologies that you have to remember: epic, user story, bug, tasks, subtasks. Epic people tend to forget. Epic is a big piece of work or requirement that needs to be worked on particular sprint or over period of sprints, or we will divide epic into multiple user stories, and each user story is picked by developer based on the user story points they work. Okay, so again user story points are there. So that user story point is a controversial topic where people decide the time duration for each requirement or the feature that they are working. Let's suppose we have to build a CI/CD, one particular pipeline, and we know the complexity of building a CI/CD pipeline. Scrum Master with very less knowledge of technicalities of his CI/CD, he'll come up with giving 2 days or 3 days some X user story points, and we know the complexity, so we will tell him that this doesn't happen in this way. Now again, our team lead should pitch in. He has to tell that difficulties of that particular complex project, and then we have to bargain some more extra points. So that's why I said it's a controversial topic. User story points are a time duration that is given to a particular task. It could be user story, task, or subtask, or bug. Okay, user story points are given. User story points is directly proportional to the time duration. Some projects might take the user story points as hours. Some take it as days. Some take it as no, months is not there. Weeks also is not there. It should be hours or days. Either of these. Okay, there is user story points. Now let's go for a live demo. Okay, for Scrum model. So I've created. I was just working on creating a small project. Okay, so let's try to create one project. So I just registered one free trial account on Jira and trying to create a new project altogether. Okay, I have just selected the Scrum project, but again, we can create our own project. So let's create a project. Okay, see here, if you have these many options, like import directly data. If you have already the project backlog or already product backlogs, features and all, you can directly use, or you can actually integrate with another service management. But then I'll go with creating a new one. See here, you have these models: Kanban, Scrum, top level planning, bug tracking and stuff. I'll go with Scrum. There is a template where you will get issue types: epic, story, bug, task, subtask. Okay, workflow is to do, in progress, done. Okay, we can use this template. It is not, we can also change the template, we can also customize the template. Again, this is all not part of our thing. Sometimes it is done, since in my previous company I have done that, so I have some knowledge. You don't need to learn this, but I wanted to show you how dashboard looks like. If you go into a project, you should not feel that it's a new thing. Okay, so I just wanted to make sure that that should not happen. So I'll just select a company managed project, select a team managed project. Let's say I'll go with this. Okay, team name, drill DevOps, drill DevOps batch-02. Okay, some key, it says DB2. Okay, change type Scrum, change type team managed. Okay, this is like you are creating a new project altogether, but already if you join to a project, already everything will be organized. You just have to work on the sprint plannings. See, you will get this project name DB2 Drill DevOps Batch 2. You can also see a new project here, Drill DevOps Batch 2. I'm in that project, and then if you come back, you can create backlog items here. See here, you can actually import if you have already have, but that is all your thing. Um, you can actually create directly from here a pick which one you want to proceed. If you want to do that, create an epic. So this is done by product owner, or in DevOps cases, it should be manager or a team lead who is going to do that. Okay, so I don't know why this is coming. Create a epic. One second. It says epic. You can create epic from here. This is like, it's not actually loading the new project. Let me refresh. Okay, see, we can create sprint actually. Let's say I'll create sprint first. Okay, so okay, yeah, drill DevOps. So I'll create one issue type. Let's say epic. It says, let's say done to do task. Let's say I wanted to create a set up a CI/CD pipeline. I'm talking more of DevOps point of view, not development. I hope you understood the development concept, but then understanding is good enough, because we don't work for them. We'll be working for them. Understanding should be fine, but you don't need to go in depth, in detail technicalities of their thing. Okay, so we have to understand what we do. So let's say I'll copy this, put it in description, and assignees, we can actually assign it to multiple people. Since I have only one user, I just assign it to myself, and then you can label it. It is or not needed. Parent issue, You can show the parent issues, but then not required. Select the date. Since it is a epic, you can actually decide date, how many days it should get completed. And let's say I wanted to give like within 2 weeks I wanted to complete. I can select the color type. Now I can link any issues if there is any, but then I don't want it to do. I'll just create. Okay, when you create, see here, you will get an dismiss. I don't want to connect to Slack. Okay, you have this epic created. See here, epic gets created here. Okay, now what I can do is I can create a sprint. Okay, so I can just drag and drop here. There are two sprints. Why do I have? Delete this sprint. I have one sprint. I can put it in the backlog item. Let's say okay, it's already in backlog. There is something related to issue. Um, let's say I wanted to. So I like I said, we have to select the sprint dates, right? So let's say 2 weeks. See, I told you right, 1 week, 2 week, maximum it is 4 weeks. You can also customize. 2 weeks is the good ideal time. So let's say I'm starting my sprint on 8th, and I'll be it is automatically select. It will automatically select 2 weeks. So if you see here, 22nd will be my sprint ending date. Second 2 weeks, 1 week, 2 weeks, and this is where I will plan my sprint model. Sprint planning will be done on 22nd. Next sprint planning will be done on the this one, sprint 1. Okay, let's see. Okay, like sprint goal is to complete CACD. Okay, so actually, even our batch also, right? Whatever we are doing, we can create those pipeline blocks. Like let's say, I wanted to complete Scrum today and Kanban tomorrow. Kanban with DevOps overview tomorrow. Those two tasks will be created, and I'll give two story points, which is 1 day and 2 sessions, 1 hour today and 1 hour tomorrow, like that. I'll create one more task for another one, which is like giving the Git like source code management related stuff like that. We can also create and work on it. Okay, we can do that also in that. It is going to take time. I mean, not time, like it is going to kill our time, not required. Import work. Oh, not this. This is like epic. Create issue. Like we can create issues from here itself. Task, subtask, and all. Now I can create multiple tasks inside it. Okay. Then I can assign this particular task to this. I'll show you how. Setup a repo for DevOps scripts. Okay, DevOps scripts. This is my first task. Okay, so I'll create this. Second task is set up Maven build tool for CI/CD. Okay, now let's say I wanted to create one more task. Set up Sonar Cube. These are all part of CI/CD. Okay, so set up Sonar Cube for build for CI/CD. Okay, so these are, let's say, these are tasks that I need to create. So all these are created. See, I can add epic. Okay, so see, there is a epic that I have created. Set up CI/CD pipeline. I can add this particular task to this epic, which is a part of all these are part of my CI/CD pipeline. No? So I can add epic. I can directly relate this. Now I can start the sprint. Okay, now I have tasks. I have three tasks taken for this particular 2 weeks. So I'll start sprint. So since I have only created one people, I can start it. Okay, so let's say I'll start. See the board. See the board. To do in progress done. Also, you can create one more validation. You can create validation stage, and then you can have it, let it load. You can put it before moving to done. You can put it here. Validation will come here. So let's say I have created one repo. So I let's say I have picked. Okay, there is user story points also. We can give user stories. Okay, so let's open this. This is the task. See, this is the user story. See, story. You get that user story comes with this symbol. Sometimes symbol changes. It depends on team. But say this one. So I can actually edit this. Let's see. So, see user story estimate points. I wanted to give like 1 hour for this to create a proper set of repository. Okay. So I've given one, and let's say if you close it, you'll get this story point here. So I have let's assume I have created and I moved it to progress. Okay, now it is here. Now I mean, since I'm working on it, so I'll move it to in progress and start working on um, this. This one is nothing but one task is available here. Two tasks are available here. Okay, don't get confused with this one. It automatically populates. So now I'm working on creating my Git repository. Let's say I'll go to GitHub. So I'll just create randomly. I'm just showing you. I have let's assume I have created. Now I have created. I'll move this in progress to once after creating the repository. I'll just send it to validation. Our team members inside our team members, someone should validate right whether repo is everything. These are on high level. I just wanted to tell you an example. So someone should validate whether the repo is created. It is private and it has very less access to everyone, and only our DevOps team should access, and not everyone should have right access, direct commit access. Okay, so all those things should be validated. Someone from our team should validate and give approval. So once that is approved, then he will tell that this is validated. He will put in the comments. So everything is done in the comments. Okay, so if you go here and see, let me open this. So if you see here, let's say someone from our team should validate. So let's say I am only the one that I am validating, or you can also tag. See, drill DevOps. We can tag users like this. Hey, drill DevOps. Hey, validated. So you can close this. It should be fine. You can close this. Okay, like this you will comment and save. Comment is done. Validation is done. I can move it to done. I can update here, or I can move the drag and drop. Okay, see, it is moved to done. Like this. This is how sprint happens. Every day stand up, we will open this dashboard. During sprint planning, we will complete the sprint. We will update. We will take the new tasks. We will, if some tasks are still pending, that is moved to backlog, and that is next sprint backlog, and then it is moved to the next sprint as in progress tickets. And again, people should work. Once that is done, they will move to done. Okay, so like this, we will be done. We will be taken. So let's say this is done here. This is, I'll move it to in progress. Now I'm working on setting up the map. Let's say I wanted to edit. So let me update this and close the sprint. I'll update the sprint planning to like today only. I wanted to update. Must update. Okay, let's say I wanted to complete the sprint and create a new sprint. I'll show you how this sprint backlog is moved to the next one. So new sprint completed. New sprint, complete the sprint. So see here, sprint 2 is created. The completed item is closed. Only 2 items, one is in progress and one is not yet started to do. So we can start the sprint. Those came into sprint 2, then we'll start the sprint. Okay, so let's say we'll give it 2 weeks this time. Okay, let's start. Now sprint 2 is created. Automatically those 2 have come up here with the sprint 2. Additionally, people will add new tasks and update their tasks. So they'll work on it again. So this is how happens. The stages might be different. To do in progress validation, they will have code review or automation review, build reviews. Separately, they will have multiple things in sprint model. But then it is our choice to whatever keep. Scrum Master will decide, or our team lead will decide what to be available as a DevOps team, not development. Development team will have additional few more stages, but then DevOps this should be fine. Okay, so we can create user stories, we can add views and all. If you see backlog, we can create multiple backlog items by adding epics. Okay, I can create one more epic and say set up infra on AWS for uh, uh, mic, for microservices. Okay, let's say this is one more epic. Okay, now I have created one more epic. This is also one backlog item. So now I can create multiple of this. I can create multiple issues with this, and I will assign, let's say, um, setting up IAM for microservices infra. Okay, now I can create this, and I'll assign this epic. I'll change the epic to. I'll come here. Let me open that. Where is that? Where did that go? So I'll update the epic here. Okay, so we can add epic. I'll update setup infra. Okay, now see this goes to this one. If you see here, setting up microservice, I can add multiple setup VPC for microservices. Okay, on AWS. Let's say this one. Now this is automatically gets populated. If you see here, automatically this is oh no, wait, let me open this and add it. I can edit the epics here directly. It has actually selected this one. Okay, so yeah, I don't see here. If I select this, we will get here. So two epics are there. Two has different issues, and two we can work on. So these are all added. If you go to board, you will see them. See here, those are all added. The epics are different. See, this is CI/CD, this is infra based. Okay. Now, when we wanted to work on infra, creating new infrastructure or updating, we can work on this. Say someone from our team is working on this, and they have moved it to this one, like in progress. Okay, like this we can say. We can also group by names, assignees and all, but again, it depends how you want to filter. Since we have only one user, I have done this. Okay, so far any doubts? That is going to end our sprint. Scrum related project. I'll stop here. Open for QA. Then in tomorrow's session, I'll give Kanban dashboard, which is more of management point of view, and then I'll show you one. I wanted to explain one architecture, which is this one. Let me open this. Let this load. Yeah, see this one. So I'll be giving a brief idea of what this entire process does. Okay, a brief idea of this one. There is also one flow diagram. This one. Okay, so I'll be explaining you the CI/CD infrastructure and the environments. Okay, the infra. This is all infra pipeline. This lower level is infra pipeline. This is CI/CD pipeline. Docker is an image. Let's talk about that entire process tomorrow. Okay, so tomorrow first 15-20 minutes will be Kanban dashboard, and then 30 to 40 minutes would be this explanation, more of this explanation. Then we will, so you have to understand the cycle, the process, the step by step that what we are going in the course. It is not like whatever I have given in the course content, that doesn't make any sense if you don't understand the flow. So why I am going this in this order is what you understand if you understand this entire process. Okay. So like I said, product owner, all these guys comes in tomorrow session. I'll be explaining all this from the DevOps point of view. Okay, I'll stop here. Any questions, any doubts, anything you have, do let me know. I'm more than happy to answer all the queries.